everybody, and welcome back to the channel. For today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the final entry into the Transformers Shattered Glass lineup, that being Soundwave, actually based on the Netflix mold. Hasbro finally did us right for once and gave us exactly what we wanted, and to be honest, I don't think this could have turned out any better than it had unless they were to give us a complete brand new mold, which, let's face it, was completely off the cards. But as you guys can see, this is a really nicely done version of Soundwave, and I know the first question many of you guys are going to be asking is whether or not I think this is going to yellow, and to be completely upfront with you guys, absolutely. I mean, straight out of the packaging, I already had some areas which were looking a little sus, but one of the biggest pieces that was already discoloured would be the gun. As you guys can see, this top piece is actually quite yellow when in comparison to the white handle, and that is such a shame. I've had this out of the box for about 2 days, so to see this discoloured this badly already certainly isn't a good sign, and there are unfortunately some pieces on the actual figure himself which are already looking like they're beginning to discolour, which is just so unfortunate. I mean, Hasbro in 2022 should not be giving us figures which straight out of the box already have these ugly QC issues. I'm actually going to bring in the Shattered Glass Starscream later on in the video, and you guys are going to see how ugly that has become over the past 12 months. But as we take a look here at the details, as you guys can see, we do get a brand new head sculpt, which actually looks awesome, and I think is the only reason why they were able to reissue the Netflix Soundwave mold. As far as I'm concerned, they can't give us a straight up reissue because Walmart still own the rights or something. But as we take a look here at the details, I think that looks really cool, and as we come around to the back, we do actually get the green bandana, which has been sculpted really nicely. Now, it would have been cool had it been a little more free-flowing, but due to the way this guy transforms, I think that would have been near enough impossible. And as we just take a look at the rest of the figure, identical to Netflix Soundwave, very nicely painted and sculpted. I mean, this guy really does look pretty sick, and I'm just hoping that if this is going to yellow, it takes quite a few years and is nowhere near as rapid as some of the past ones, as this is such a nice looking figure. Really nice detailing here at the back, but again, you can see that this piece is actually a little darker when in comparison to this section. I mean, come on, straight out of the packaging, is this what we should be expecting for a figure which costs around about $40 to $50? Absolutely not. And then as we come around here to the front again, I do like that he still retains the cassette deck gimmick, which reveals some very nice internal detail. Now, joint-wise, he feels exactly the same as my original version. He still has that very annoying click here in the shoulders. That is quite irritating, but other than that, really nicely done looking figure. Now, accessory-wise, he actually comes with pretty much everything that we got with the Netflix version, although instead of giving us kind of the Earth mode versions of Laserbeak and Ravage, this time they've given us the Siege releases. So, as you guys can see, here we have Ravage, and it looks really cool as a cassette. I mean, amazing metallic blue paint apps, and I actually think he looks the coolest when actually placed inside Soundwave. So, just to show you guys how that looks. And here for Laserbeak, as you guys can see, very nicely painted, just going through the transformation quite quickly. You're just going to want to pop open the beak, pop open this butt piece, fold down the legs, and there we have the Cybertronian version of Laserbeak. Not my preferred release, but still quite nicely painted as well as detailed, and it is cool that they basically kept the same accessories as what we got first time round. And then in regards to actual firepower, in addition to this pointless thing, which honestly I have no idea why it's still being reissued almost 4 years since we got Siege Soundwave, we also do get the Concussion Blaster, which has been cast in a very nice white pearly plastic with some pretty sick metallic blue highlights and a nice silver pointed tip. So that's pretty cool, and we also do get the iconic over the shoulder cannon, and I love the blue detail that we actually have embedded within. Now, very quickly showcasing the transformation here for Ravage, a little more complex when in comparison to Laserbeak. If you own either version of this mold, you'll know exactly what to expect, but we just flip out those legs. Then what we can do is fold this section here to the back, ratchet those sections down, bring these hips down on both sides, and then for some finishing touches, you're just going to want to ratchet these shoulder pieces down, flip Ravage's head up, and there we have him transformed up into his robot mode. Now, to be honest, I think this was by far one of the worst kind of cassette minions that we got for Soundwave. This guy really doesn't look great, and we are in a dire need of an updated core class version for this character. Now, as we jump into some comparisons, we have the original Netflix release on the left, and as you guys can see, it is just such a shame at how badly and how rapidly this guy is discolored over time. I mean, I have Transformers from the early 2000 era, and none of them are showing as bad discolorization as this. I mean, I even have the original Titan class Metroplex that was released way back in 2012, 2013, and for the most part, it's held up impeccably well. So this figure, which I've had in the collection for about 2 years, to see it discolor this badly is just not on at all. I mean, Hasbro are one of the biggest toy companies in the world at the moment, and they cannot fix a simple plastic yellowing issue. It's just quite embarrassing, to be honest. But as we come around here to the back, as you guys can see, these pieces have completely discolored, and considering that all of the pieces on this guy, which are slightly more malleable in terms of plastic, are the same same types of plastic that we've got here on this guy. Again, within a couple of years, I have no doubts at all that this one is also going to show signs of quite heavy discolorization. But just for a very quick comparison, of course, they are the same body mold wise. It really is just the heads which differ. Here he is alongside the shattered glass Starscream, and to be honest, I may just do a whole separate video on this issue, as this is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, check out the colour, the shade of the elbows when in comparison to the rest of the white plastic. It is just literally hideous. The same can also be said here for the top piece, and these shattered glass figures in particular are by no stretch of the imagination cheap. They're actually considerably more when in comparison to your standard retail release, so it's just such a shame. I mean, look at the back of the legs. This is literally embarrassing, and I know there's going to be some of you guys out there that would literally defend Hasbro to the death, and I don't know why, because they clearly don't care about us if they're just willing to produce products like this and not address it. As with this shattered glass Soundwave, the issue appears to still be persistent and there have been no changes. It's just so unfortunate, but there is that comparison between the two. And then finally, here we have him alongside the shattered glass Megatron, which to be honest, I actually think could be one of the best shattered glass releases that they ever put out. Now, jumping into transformation, just for those of you who perhaps never picked up the original mold, to kickstart things off, you'll want to remove the concussion blaster. We can then take the hands and just fold them into the hollow cavities, rotate the forearms around so that basically the side of the arm is now facing forwards, come around to the back of Soundwave, take this section, hinge this down, and flip the head in. And I actually really like the attention to detail of all of that sculpt work. That's a really sweet touch. So just collapse that in there, snap that into place, rotate the waist so that the front is now facing the back. We can then take the shoulder joints, disengage those, and these tabs are going to peg into those slots, so snap that in there and do the same here for this side. We can then combine the two arms just like that, and then we're going to turn here to the legs. Now again, this is where I have a massive yellowing issue, so as we just pop open these back pieces and compare these sections, as you guys may or may not be able to tell, but this is considerably lighter when in comparison to this, which is slightly more tan. It kind of reminds me of the original shade of plastic they used for the Earthrise Wheeljack. So straight out of the packaging, that again is so unfortunate, but you'll just want to take the feet, fold those up like so, and there are actually a few ports here which will peg into the sole of the feet. So just snap them in there, do the same here for this side. So snap that there into place, take this piece, lift it forwards, fold out these sections on either side. We can then rotate here at the thigh, hinge this section all the way up, snap that there into place, and do the same here for this side. And then for some finishing touches, just make sure those hip joints are nice and straightened. We can just take these panels, snap them there into place, and you will actually want to bring in the blasters, as these kind of help support Soundwave when in the cassette mode. And then just snap this one here into the back, and then we have Soundwave fully transformed up into his alt mode. And this is the main reason why this particular mold of Soundwave is so awesome, as it's his classic iconic G1 cassette player, and it does look fantastic. Granted, since we've had Blaster, I definitely think there could be room for improvement, but for the most part, probably one of the best mainline releases we have ever seen for Soundwave, and it looks just as cool here for Shattered Glass. So as you guys can see, very nice detailing for the front. I think all of the paint apps for the most part have come out pretty clean. We still do get the Cassette Deck, which is really awesome, and as we come around to the back, yeah, it's a jumbled mess, which is the reason why I think Blaster cleans up a little better, but overall it's not too bad, especially from the front. And that is pretty much it for Soundwave in the cassette mode. So really cool looking, but again, I personally think that over the years we could definitely maybe see a new version. And here for a quick comparison, we have again the Netflix version on the left and the new Shattered Glass release on the right, and here in alt form they are pretty much identical besides the color scheme. But as you guys can see, very bad discolorization here on my Netflix Soundwave, so just so damn unfortunate. And so there was my quick review for the Transformers Shattered Glass Voyager class Soundwave. Overall, the figure itself is actually really cool. I mean, I think the mold is one of the best mainline Soundwaves we've ever seen, and considering how elusive it was back in the day when the Netflix line was around, I'm so glad that they have reissued it, and it is the perfect Soundwave for Shattered Glass. Had they just given us a slightly retooled version of the Siege release, I don't think any of us would have been half impressed as we are. But the yellowing issue still persists, and it's just such a shame. It's something I have to bring up as a reviewer, as I have to be completely transparent with you guys. I honestly think that if you pick this up within the next 12 months, you're going to see some really nasty yellow spots, as already on my release, which I've had out of the box for about 2 days, some pieces have already drastically begun to discolor when in comparison to their opposites, which is just not on at all, not acceptable, especially from Hasbro for a 2022 release. It's just absolutely diabolical quality control wise. I'd love to get your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you find find this to be as big of an issue as I do, or are you easily able to look past it? As always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.